And we're back with Survivor 42 and 42. Just finished watching San Juan Del Sur, or as I keep referring to it as Gabon on steroids, because we've got a lot of weird cartoon characters who very clearly don't know how the game is played. But I thought the biggest difference with this season is the strategy. A lot of it actually makes sense. It's not just oh, I don't like Corinne or I don't like Randy, so I'm going to do this. It's a great story arc of Natalie, defending her sister and then defending Jeremy and just plotting her way to the end. Yes, a couple of people have to bite the dust for her to eventually get rid of John and the rest of them, but it makes for compelling television. And coming off Kagayan, this is not going to match up to Kagayan. It's not going to match up to Blood versus Water. But what it does do is it keeps you entertained and it gives you a winner where it's like, yep, I understand why, and I love it. So what were your thoughts when you first watched this season and every other rewatch? What makes it stand out to you? Because I know you said you're in your top 10.
This is I think my 5th time rewatching this season. I love a good story. I've always loved a good story. This is like, for me, this is like, I'm not as high on Blood versus Water 1 as everyone else is. I like it. I'm not the biggest Tyson as a player fan, but like as a human, I think he's great. But that cast is great. Of course, I love Kagayan because Kagayan is Kagayan. But like, I was really excited because I feel like this is the last time that they do start casting well in Survivor. Casting the Twinnies. I'm a big Amazing Race fan, and I was really happy to see the Twinnies in it. I think as much as I hate John Rucker, he's a fucking fantastic Survivor character.
You mean John Wetland? John Wetland, who is also a baseball player. No,
yeah. But also, like, what I love about this cast so much is how much everyone's there to play. Even people like Keith Nail is literally one of my favorite Survivor players because I feel like this season he starts off, he knows nothing. He's like, I'm here to just do competitions for my son. And like by the end, he's like actually a pretty decent Survivor player. By the end of Second Chances, he's a great Survivor player. And he's like seems like a decent enough guy because he always places in the top 5 in both of his seasons.
Yes.
And like I feel like that's a pretty cool thing considering he's like at the beginning getting like, oh, this is a bumfuck Louisiana edit, and like he's like mixing with Jeremy and Val Collins like in a good way.
And Reed and Josh.
Yeah. And like you're like, oh wow, he should like these people. They're like the gay couple. They're Broadway actors, and like it's just so cool because I love the season so much because it's like you have your expectations and everyone else exceeds it, except for Alec Christie, who's literally the most boring character I think I've watched in Survivor history. No, he's not the most boring in Survivor history, but he's like top 30 for sure in most boring. Is my AC too loud?
Huh?
Is my AC too loud?
No, you're good.
Okay. But
rewatching his boot episode, first of all, I don't remember anything from his boot episode. Oh no, that's a lie. I do remember the ending with Natalie.
Yeah.
Forgetting. But there's a moment where Alec has like this confession where he talks about how he misses his brother. I'm like, I don't remember this at all. I don't remember ever learning anything about Alec Christie, and seeing it on the rewatch, it's like, yep, don't remember this. Still really don't care. Because let's just get to the good stuff. Let's just get to Natalie forgetting to vote for Keith.
He's such a purple character. Like I feel like every other character has at least 10 more confessionals than him, except for like the first 2 people that went out. Like,
so watching it this time, do you think that if Alec is sitting at the end next to like Missy and Baylor, that Alec wins? Because of the bro jury?
Yes, because I think so, but like also because you could tell like by the end of this journey that everyone hates Missy except for Baylor. Every time you watch the season, I feel like I cheer every episode. There's always something to cheer for every episode. I remember distinctly I told you off the air, I can't stand John as a character. I have no issue with him as a person. He doesn't seem like the worst person ever. Yay for him and Jacqueline having a baby. But like I remember distinctly in the reward within the canopy bed, like oh, this is a great bottle of wine. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck you, bro. Like, fuck you. And it's like, that's like when you think he's like going to win the season. And then, like, of course, he's like voted out. I think that episode, right?
I think that was 6 where he goes.
Yeah.
No, I think whatever it was. Yes,
but it was shortly after.
Yes,
and I'm just like, fuck this guy, and like, because like I was so on, like I like from the jump this season, I'm like Jeremy, Natalie, and oh my god, Josh.
Yes.
Like, because I remember watching this season, be like, oh, Josh or Jeremy's going. Josh or Jeremy's going. I like Natalie, she's not going. And then like they both get voted out immediately at the merge. It's like, oh, okay. Hopefully Natalie can do this. And like Natalie does, I think, the smartest move possible of like being everyone's number 2 or number 3. You know?
And she doesn't, and she portrays herself as not being pissed off when Jeremy goes, because she now has this plan of, I'm going to screw all of these people and I'm going to enjoy it. And from 6 to 3 or 7
to 3, I think. I might forget the numbers.
It's basically her move every single time that that person goes out. And at 4, it is her move that keeps her over Keith. So I feel like one of the big differences between Gabon and this, and I'm going to make that comparison a lot. The similarity is obviously Jeremy and Josh go out first of the merge. The two big
big characters.
Actual players on the season. Natalie does what Bob didn't do. Is Natalie took control of her game by saying, okay, I'm just going to do this for these rounds, and then I'm going to get all of them like this.
Yeah.
Start taking advantage of the fact that these people didn't know how to play the game and use that to her advantage, and it worked out for her. And I love every tribal council from 7 to 3 are just so entertaining, because especially knowing what happens, you're just waiting for her to pretend she didn't know she wasn't supposed to vote for Keith, or was supposed to vote for Alec, whatever it was. At 6, her smiling as John's getting voted out, as they're realizing, oh man, we've been duped. At 5, her playing the idol for Jacqueline and basically looking at the jury saying, hey, look what I've been doing the last couple of rounds. Look what they've been doing. Now watch me win this. And then at 4, convincing Jacqueline,
this is why she's one of my favorite Survivor winners. Yes. Like, I have 4 favorite Survivor winners: her, Jeremy, which is the reason why I want to be on the season, because I love them both. They're 1.0 versions. Parvati and Wendell. So, and it's just like, how can you, like, Jeremy comes out fully formed in the season 2. Like, everything is just so fucking great. Like, it's just like, it's perfect storytelling from top to bottom in the season. Well, I love it.
It's funny because Jeremy in this season, he talks about how he can't do anything because none of these people know what they're doing. And now, when he's given better competition a couple seasons later,
he wins perfectly.
Yeah, he sweeps.
Literally perfect game.
And at the reunion, he talks about how Keith, he doesn't want to play with players like Keith because Keith is unpredictable. He can't strategize with him because you never know what Keith's going to do. And it's made very apparent by a lot of the stuff that happens this season, and a lot of different types of players that are similar to Keith as compared to the more strategic players that he plays with in second chances as we get the worlds apart.
I also love how strong the 2 alliances are in this season. Like the Reed and Josh side versus like the Natalie, Missy, etc. side.
Yeah.
Like, I find it so fascinating. Like, Wes Nail should be like the worst player ever in Survivor. He's not bad.
Yeah, he's fun.
He's a great character.
Yes.
I mean, and with the gas and everything is hilarious, and like, it's just like, I only can say good things about this season. Again, it's not my favorite season. It's in my top 10 for sure, but like, every rewatch, I'm just like, it feels like you're watching a really good movie.
Yes, and I feel like where, and we're going to talk about this, and I want to get your opinion. I feel like where people start to kind of shit on this season is, well, it's not the first Boys vs. Sport. They didn't bring back any returnees this time.
Yeah.
No one knows what they're doing, this, that, and the other. And it's like, yes, all of those things are true. They didn't bring back returnees. These people don't know what they're doing. It's not as good as the first one, in my opinion. And I get all of that. But what it does instead is it says, whether they did it on purpose or not, you see what happened in Gabon where we just kind of threw people and they didn't know what was going on? We're going to do that this time and just kind of see. We're going to mix them in with their loved ones. And we're going to make you cry. If it's going to be super corny like it was last time, Blood Rich Water, we're going to make it even cornier. And you're not going to know these people. And you'll probably still at least get some entertainment out of it because we're going to bring, Natalie, Nadia, and we're going to bring these firefighters from Louisiana and also a cop and a firefighter from Boston. We're going to do this and we're going to see how
really two probably gay chorus boys.
Yes, who are Christian and abstinent. It's like we're just going to get the most random, archetypes possible, throw them on this season and just see what happens. And it works very well for me. The first time I watched this, I will say that it bored me, which is wild now because I've seen it about 4 or 5 times since then. And every single time it's like, I don't know how I was bored with this. But I really enjoyed it. And it's, but I think that, the people that kind of shit on the season, I guess I understand their qualms. Have you ever heard anything else as far as why people don't enjoy this season?
I've heard people don't like it because some people are very, very unlikable in the season, and but I think they're likable characters though. I don't think like Missy,
John Rocker leaves early, but he's like you said, he's fun.
It's like Missy. Like Missy doesn't become terrible until final 8, but she's still not that big of a character until she breaks her foot, which also I think is very funny. Like rewatching it, I always forget that the person that made the challenge for that was the Make-A-Wish kid.
Yes, it was. And his answer at the reunion was just so.
It's just awkward, so funny. It's so funny.
And I didn't understand the Missy hatred, like the overly Missy hatred.
She gets a lot of hate.
I'm not a Missy fan or anything. I'm not a Baylor fan or anything. But they were getting shit on for a large portion of this season, and at the final tribal, with Reed's speech. Which,
it was one of the best of all time. Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I know we don't see everything, but this dude is clearly really pissed off at this woman for some reason. And, I didn't look much into those reasons, but Missy, is the Missy Baylor are the villains of the merged portion of the season along with John. But John's just annoying. Like when Natalie pulls off that move, and Jacqueline is like, way to go, Nat, blah, blah, blah. And John's like, don't give her credit in front of everyone, because I need to have that for me when I sit there. And Jacqueline's like, well, what if I'm sitting there? And John just kind of, throws a hissy fit at the fact that Jacqueline's upset over this. And it's like, well, she's, celebrating with someone in her alliance that is pull off this move, and you're chastising her with, oh yeah, you can't say that it was her move. It's our move. It's my move.
Jacqueline's a fascinating character to me. She doesn't really do much, of course, in the first half of the season. She's just she's always a name being mentioned. And then when her and John get together at the first swap, and then just get it for the rest of the game, pretty much. She has a little bit more gumption, but I feel like she starts growing a spine in the season, for lack of a better word, around final 8. And I think she's she wins a really hard Final 4.
Yes.
That's a hard Final 4.
And she, and I feel like she did really well at Final Tribal as well.
Yeah.
I feel like she played a very good game. I feel like she ran, similar to a lot of these seasons in the 20s, she just happened to run into someone who was, pulling off things, and everyone was seeing
it.
I do feel like if it's Jacqueline, Missy, Baylor, or Jacqueline, Keith, Missy, I feel like that's probably Jacqueline and Keith probably go the same route as Natalie, Jacqueline.
I think Keith is a hard person to beat.
Yeah, and I'm not paying attention to what happened at the reunion. Because at the reunion,
no. I didn't rewatch the reunion, but from what I've gathered,
his whole thing, he was like, "Oh yeah,
the whole crazy,
actually,
But because I think Jacqueline and Keith are definitely in the same way of like, they're like, their partner is the person that loves Survivor. And then they grow to love Survivor on the show. Keith way more than her, I feel like. But like, I I don't know. I mean, I really want to give laurels also out there to the fact that this is the most recent all-female Final Three.
Yes. Yes.
And it's, I mean,
They're
it's
far
not
make
like
the challenge away from having it in Winners at War, but
yeah, but fuck Tony Vlachos there. Not, I have no relation to Tony Vlachos. He's fine. Fuck Sarah Lucina, really, but whatever. That's just my own political stuff there. Um, but no, it's just I don't think Natalie gives a slam dunk performance. And I think Jacqueline does a lot better performance in Final Tribal Council than I think was expected. I mean, obviously, I feel no one's a 0 vote finalist because the fact that Baylor will never not vote against her mom, and John will never not vote for his future wife. So, it's just, I love this season so much. Also, as I told you before, Baylor was my crush on the season. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, I tweeted this out earlier. Like every season, I can usually find a crush that I can kind of latch on to like look at. And with this one, I was like, I guess Missy, maybe, I don't know. But as the season progressed, I would say Jacqueline probably for me.
Yeah.
Not really.
I mean, this is weird, but
yeah, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Talking about some of these other characters that we get early on, going back to the beginning of the game,
Mm-hmm.
we have all of these couples. Like I said, they just took the most, all these archetypes, and we're going to throw them on a season. How did you like the way that the season started with, for the reward challenges?
Oh, I love that
battle
so
against your loved one.
Yes.
Do you feel like that was a better twist than the Redemption Island twist of Blood versus Water? So that we get Exile Island back this season. Do you prefer it with Exile Island, or you prefer it with Redemption Island?
I actually think this is one of the more interesting ways to do a oh my god, I forgot the word all of a sudden. You just said it. Reward challenge. I think a one-on-one reward challenge is a very fascinating way to go about it. And I do like the idea that it's you versus your loved one. And also it's nice to see them use that temple set that they have again. That I think was still, because I think those seasons were Nicaragua also, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
But the thing about me is, like, I don't hate Exile Island. I like Exile Island if it's two people. I actually love it when it's two people.
Okay, so like Tocantins.
Tocantins, San Juan Del Sur. I can't think of any other seasons that do it like that.
It happened once in Panama, a couple times in Panama. But really,
but because I think no one wants to go to Exile because it's the fact that you're by yourself, and people are going to assume you have an idol. But I like the idea that like information can get spread in a smart way and you can connect with someone on the other side. I like how it's chosen too. Like it's like, okay, so you and me are a pair, you win, and I have to go to Exile, and you choose someone. You can choose someone to help me as your pair. Like, be like, oh, okay, Mark can't make fire. Well, I'll get the arsonist to come, and I, you know what I mean. I don't know, like, but
I get what you're saying.
Like, I like how like Exile can be used to. Like, for example, immediately with Jeremy and Val's like intense reward challenge, like that's an intensely close reward challenge. It's two people that are very, very competitive. I wish Val Collins would play again. I know she probably won't because she's busy being a mom. I tweeted at Jeremy like, "Hey, Val needs to play again." Recently, he's like, "Yeah, I know." But I love like how intense that shit was. And then Jeremy's like, "Okay, that guy's a firefighter too, like me. She'll be safe." I don't know. It's just like I like it. I think. I like it when Survivor bends the format in ways like this, that makes it interesting. I don't love Exile for Exile's sake.
Yes, they have to. There has to be some type of dynamic there. Like there still has to be something more than just Exile Island. You know what that means? It's like, I know what that means, but how do we get there?
I think this is like one of the better swings they take in the 20s. Granted, it's the end of the 20s. Congratulations to you there. You're 30 days in. But it's that thing of
next.
I mean, it's a little rough and then it gets good and it's up and down for the next 10 days for you. But mostly up, I think. But that's my take on the 30s. But I don't know. I feel like they took too many big, weird swings that don't land in the 20s. And I feel like every swing that production takes lands here.
Yeah, I agree. Even and we're gonna use this as a segue to casting once again, where people can complain that this is not a returning season,
It doesn't fucking
but
matter.
we
The
get
cast is incredible.
I believe, four returnees from this season, if I'm not
Um,
mistaken.
uh,
Natalie, Kelly, Jeremy, and Keith.
I think. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, and ironically, they all start off from the same tribe that can't lose until Drew Christie decides, in his infinite wisdom, that Kelly Wentworth is some type of all-time threat, and tries to throw a challenge to get rid of her, and he gets his ass sent home.
And it's so funny because I'm not the biggest Kelly Wentworth fan. I have no issue with her. I think she's
Okay.
a fine player.
Yeah.
But like, there's nothing about her in the season that makes me like, oh my god, she's gonna be
I
great.
need to have her back. Yeah.
Right. Like, I'm amazed that she got back in second chances, which is obviously her best season by far.
Yes.
But like, it's just so funny. We're like, she's only in the season for what, 5 episodes?
Ish. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like they really struck gold with these four players.
Yes.
You've got Keith, who is this. He's not this person. I'm just saying, if people were to say a comparison, he's modern day Big Tom. It's like, oh, happy-go-lucky, out of his element. This. But I actually really like Keith. Was never a Big Tom fan.
Keith is like a person I want to have a beer with.
Yes, exactly. We've got Jeremy, who is, in my opinion, one of the greatest winners of all time, one of the greatest players of all time. We've got it's Jeremy 1.0, who, if he's playing with better players, probably goes a little bit farther. You've got Kelly Wentworth, who, at first glance, yes, all we know is Drew Christie saying this person is a threat because she watches a lot of Survivor. She's going to be really strategic, and she gets voted out before her dad, which is strange.
Because your dad's a terrible Survivor player.
And then we get Natalie, who, the storyline of Natalie in her 2 times playing, it's very fun. Like, if you watch San Juan Del Sur as
a prequel to Winners at
a
War,
movie, like if you do this and then Winners at War, I won't call it a tragedy because Natalie still comes back in at the end of Winners at War, but it's just a fun little story arc for her.
I've yet to do a rewatch Winners at War, but I feel like her edit in theory is very similar, considering like she's very present in Winners at War, although she's not there. She's obviously a lot more present this season, but like she like really pops off at like what, final 7 or 8 here.
Yes.
Obviously a little further up in when it's at war because she gets back in.
And I noticed that this time, it's like there are episodes, Natalie gets confessionals in every episode, but there are a lot of episodes where we don't really know what Natalie's up to. And it's not until, like you said, once Jeremy goes home, there are a couple of votes where Natalie's not really the main focus because now it's John and Reed
Jacqueline
and all these people going after each other. But once that happens, once that 8-7 mark happens, it becomes the Natalie show, and you know exactly what's going. There is really no type of suspense, and this might be because we know what's going to happen, but there's really no type of suspense going into a lot of those tribals from then on because Natalie's telling you, like telling the camera, this is what's about to happen. Let's just hope that someone else doesn't screw it up because this is exactly what I'm going to do, and if I can do this, then I'm going to get to the end. And I think her smartest move, maybe not her biggest move, her smartest move was keeping Missy over Baylor because it lessens the chance of somebody winning that immunity challenge. And that people probably are not the biggest fans of Missy at this point. People might actually like Baylor. We know that Alec has a weird thing with her.
Who's Alec? No, like I agree because and also like I think it's a lot easier for them to vote out Baylor when they do to get Jacqueline aboard than Missy, because I feel like Jacqueline feels like Missy is her mom, or evil stepmom according to Reed. But like, I think it's easier for Jacqueline to be like, yeah, I'll take out my stepsister instead of my mom, if that makes sense.
No,
since I know Missy was so close to John and Jacqueline.
And so this is, and I guess this is another qualm people might have with the season. This is a qualm that I've not to say that I have with it, but I can see how people might take it that way. Is a lot of the because and it might just because we know who wins, but a lot of it is just becomes more of a all right, so these people are dumb and Natalie's taking advantage of it, and let's see what happens next. And it's not a bad thing. It's just more one of those things where it's like this is one of those seasons that it's surprising the first time you watch it as far as like how she's doing this, and every other time it's like, yeah, I can't wait to see it happen this time, but it's I good for her for redeeming her sister and redeeming Jeremy.
I don't know if they're dumb. I don't know if dumb is the right word.
But
I know what you're saying though. Like it's a thing of every time we watch this season, though, I try to rewatch this season specifically with my mind open, like because it's such a gorgeously edited season. Like you literally start off very similar to the first Blood versus Water with a Night Zero and all that cool stuff. And it's got that good sweet heart that you love in Survivor Start, right? Like it's like everyone's having a good time. The yokels, what a horrible word, lost their flint, and one of them's a firefighter. But it's like, and then it's just like it just goes running out, and I love how it's like told. Like I love like the discoveries, like. Hey, you look like that baseball player. And then, like, everyone by the end of episode 3 knowing exactly who John Rocker is.
You were John Rocker. And one of the best parts of the pre-merge is very fun.
It's a fun fucking pre-merge.
We have one and it's crazy because when we think about historic horrible tribes, we talk about of course, now I can't think of any tribe. Pabu and Fiji, Oolong, Mat Singh, all of these. Yeah. They never really, touch on, was it Koyopa or Unapu that kept losing?
Koyopa.
Kept losing. You never really hear about Koyopa, and Koyopa wins one immunity this entire season, and that's because Drew Christie throws the challenge. Every other challenge, Koyopa loses, because they're not good at both OG Koyopa and Swap Koyopa.
Did Koyopa lose really both Swap?
They lost both Swap.
You're right, yeah, because the Wentworth's from the same tribe, yeah.
Yeah. But even then, the Napu tribe is not necessarily, some tribe that's thriving because they lose a flint. They eat all of their food and have to give away everything they've won in the game a couple days before the merge. And once again, it's Jeremy sitting there like, guys, we'll be fine. We keep winning. We're going to win these rewards. The merge is happening soon. We're going to get more food. We don't have to do this. But everyone, in their infinite wisdom, decides, no, I think this would be better to trade all this away for a big bag of rice, even though we are getting another big bag of rice in about an episode.
I mean, literally, I think there's 3 times that trades are either brought up or successful.
Australia?
No, in this season.
Oh, in the season. Oh, yeah.
They're like, man, we need more food. We need to like barter for more food. And it's just like Missy is feeding everyone too much fucking rice.
Mm-hmm.
Too much fucking rice. And it's just so funny when that swap happens. And I think it's Josh that says is like, you guys are eating so much food.
Yeah. And it's fun. I think that was the reason they were winning all the challenges. Maybe. I feel like it doesn't hurt. But also I do feel like they had just a better physical tribe both times. And I tried to watch this season through Jeremy's eyes this time. And yes, I felt for him so much this season because you could just tell he's ready. He's been applying for 10 years. He's ready to do all this. And then all of a sudden it's like, how did I end up with these jabronis, for lack of a better phrase? How did I end up with these folks? And where am I going to find my footing? And he tries, and he latches on to people that he feels like he can work with. It's just he can't work with them. And you feel bad, ironically, you feel bad for John Rocker because John Rocker is, it looks like, trying to work with the Collins family.
Yeah.
And he trusts Val has this idol and he's trying to help her out. And then he does the voting confession. It's like, you should have played it. Now your husband's going to hate me. And he does. Obviously, my favorite moment of the entire season is stick to the plan.
Yep. Oh my God.
Please talk us through stick to the plan.
Oh, stick to the plan's best thing of all time. It literally is. The plan was the plan. I want to make sure I get this right. So I didn't. Yeah. So the stick to the plan is spoken by our patron saint of Louisiana, good old Keith Nail, and stick to the plan happens at. Who is the plan? I'm just trying to make sure. They're trying to
get rid of John. They're trying to.
That's what. Yeah, they're trying to get rid of John, and because John has an idol that everyone thinks it has, and so two idols get played.
Yes.
First is John's idol, and because John's obviously sticks to the plan.
Well, no, yeah.
At Tribal Council, like if I have an idol, I'm playing my fucking idol. If I'm not the closest with that person.
Well, that's the move that Natalie's that Jacqueline eventually says, "Oh yeah," because Natalie's like, "Hey, play your idol," because
Natalie's like, "Play your idol just in case," and then so John plays his idol, and then immediately Keith's like, "I should play my idol too," but Keith doesn't know though. Is the other side split their votes between Keith and Wes, so Keith saying "stick to your plan," accidentally get Keith's son out.
Yes. Yeah. If he had just and that's why that Keith doesn't understand the game this time around. Or
it's also the first time that an idol is played this season. The other time an idol plays is when Jacqueline, did you vote for who I said you did?
Yes. But the main proof that Keith doesn't know what he's doing is him and Reed talk right beforehand and say, "Hey, we have to trust each other here. If we stick to the plan, we will be fine." And then they get to tribal, and so everyone's trying to play their roles correctly, and Reed is trying to play his role correctly, and Keith is not picking up on these cues that Reed is just playing a character here. He is not going to screw you, and Keith, in his infinite wisdom, stick to the plan. Everything is blown up. Natalie once again, saving the day, I guess, so that she can take them out eventually down the line, telling John to play the idol. John plays the idol. Keith plays his. Wes goes home. And it's just from there. Now John and Jacqueline know they can trust Natalie, because why would Natalie help John in that situation? They know it. And so it leads, when that downfall inevitably happens, it's so fun to watch because these people are so invested in this Natalie Anderson alliance, these two, and also Missy and Baylor, that when she basically pulls a Tony / Rob Sesternino, where she's going back and forth between alliance
100%,
7-3, and it works for her every single time. And I don't think she gets a vote in that time period. No one votes for her. I hope that's
no one votes for her at all this season, if I'm not mistaken.
So then, even better. But let's specifically 7-3, when she is very obviously flipping on these people, and they don't do anything about it. I know at Final Four it's like, oh, do we cut Natalie? And in the end, Natalie still doesn't get a vote. Keith votes for Missy instead of Natalie. So the way she's able to maneuver that end game with these folks is masterful. And I feel like, I'm not going to say that Natalie Anderson's underrated because
I think she's well regarded. I feel like she's in everyone's top 10, I feel like.
But I feel like one of the best moves ever, period, is, even though it's like it's really not, I think it's because of how flashy it is, and I don't even like flashy moves on this show, is, Jacqueline, did you vote for whoever I told you to vote for? And I think it's because it's so theatric that, in my head, she's doing it, and there's like a long, in my head, that scene goes a lot longer, and she stares at the jury like this.
Like she turns back, she's like, Hey,
And
yeah. Did you stick to the plan? Uh-huh.
yeah, it's so amazing. And then Missy saying, "Oh yeah, I'm gone." It's like, psych, you're staying, and you're gonna have to sit out yet another challenge tomorrow.
We need you, you broken-legged, horrible human being.
Um,
I want to talk about something
yeah.
though, like you brought up briefly though, the John Rocker of it all. I think John Rocker. I mean, I'm not defending John Rocker. I will
No,
never defend John Rocker, but I think John Rocker potentially could have been a good Survivor player.
how so?
All right, so if you take the John Rockerness out of it, like the
Who
given,
John Rocker is?
yeah, yeah, and you just let John Rocker be a Survivor player, he wasn't connecting with people badly. He
No,
was doing a good
people
job
want to
leader.
work with him.
Yeah, he was working with people. He was working on both sides of like the tribes because that was a dynamic that could happen this season. Um, I really don't think he was playing bad beside for the given circumstances of what he is. Like, yeah, if that makes sense.
I know it makes sense, and I think that up until episode 3, I would say that is true. Well,
Episode, yeah,
if we want to talk about Natalie as far as a game player, even as early as episode 3, where in my head, I know she said that it wasn't strategic at the reunion,
yeah,
but in my head, she provoked this guy into being John Rocker.
yeah,
She's just going to keep antagonizing this person until he says something that makes
really
you think,
bad.
oh, yeah, that's John Rocker. That's John
Yeah.
Rocker, all right. And gets his ass sent home that episode with an idol in his pocket. And
I
I
almost
think
feel bad for Julie. I think Julie is in that same boat as Keith Nail or a Jacqueline, where they're like, my partner wants to do the show more than me, but I'm doing it because might as well. And I don't think Julie's even a bad Survivor player either. I think that she just is caught up in everything.
it's almost once again, not saying these people are the exact same, because I like one, I don't really like the other.
Uh-huh.
It's almost like the Monica Culpepper pre-merge portion of Blood versus Water, where everyone's continuously shitting on her because of her husband, and Monica's doing all these confessionals where it's like, Brad's not a bad person, blah blah blah. But then when Brad leaves, she's like, nope, I'm doing it for me now. This is all about Monica. Brad's gone. This is all about Monica. The difference is in this season, Julie's crying. Oh, John. People don't understand John. John's changed. Blah blah blah. John leaves, and then Julie just shuts down. And then at the merge, it's game over because she steals trail mix. And once again, second season in a row, there is a quit where it seems like Jeff really just doesn't care. He's not upset. He's just
Was this
like,
a quick Cagayan?
exactly. That's how great that season is. Lindsay quits.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yes.
People forget because of how great the season is. So yeah, Lindsay quits, and Jeff shows up, and it's just like, all right, you want to quit? Cool.
Right, because that was right after Cliff. Yeah.
But he doesn't come off as annoyed or upset. He doesn't come off as OG Jeff, where it's like, oh, go home, Austin.
Or Nayalka being like,
yeah, it's just like, oh, okay, yeah. Do you want to let the tribe know, or should I let the tribe know? And she's like, oh yeah, you let the tribe know. Okay, I'll let the tribe know. And he goes away.
I think this is actually the start of like modern Jeff.
I won't go that far yet.
It's almost there. It's almost there. I feel like
Jeff happens a little later in the 30s, where it comes off as fake. I feel like this season he's still very much like, I feel like this is the real Jeff.
Okay.
There is a certain moment in the 30s where it's like, all right, this guy's playing a character at this point. This is not really
Survivor Man.
Yeah. But overall, San Juan Del Sur, for me, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I think that it definitely keeps up the pace of the post Dark Age Survivor seasons. Right now, we've got Blood vs. Water, Cagayan, and San Juan Del Sur. I understand that people have qualms with it, all that, but I feel like it's a great, greatly edited. It's a perfectly edited season. I feel like it's a lot of fun characters, even though a lot of them don't know what they're doing. Yeah. I feel like it's, the overall storyline of Natalie, getting revenge for everyone that's been slighted in this game is great storytelling, like you said. And it just sucks that tomorrow we're going to see a very steep drop off as far as quality post Dark Ages as I talk about season 30, Worlds Apart, which going into 42 and 42 was my third least favorite season of all time. And I'm fairly certain it'll probably stay there after this is all said and done.
So what's below that, Debbie? I'm assuming
Island
Thailand
Idols. Yeah, Island of the Idols. Which I actually feel like Island of the Idols might actually
I think
this time around.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't rewatched Island of the Idols, but like my love of what I love in that season, I think has grown. But like, God, fuck half that cast that we're about to watch. And the thing.
Oh,
I
can't wait.
The thing that sucks about the season we're about to watch is like, it'd be like if they edited people being a lot different in San Juan Del Sur, like if and like the bad people made it far. Like I don't think there's that many bad people in San Juan Del Sur.
The Christies and John Rocker.
Yeah, like it'd be like, and like if Missy's edit got less cute earlier, then I feel like that's what this tomorrow is for you. Yeah. Like I just remember like the reunion so well with like Dan Foley, like all the Dan Foley stuff. Like oh god, I fucking hate this. But like I'm really happy that you let me talk about the season because like I feel like the season doesn't get shit on, but I don't think it gets the love it deserves because I think it's one of the better storytelling seasons. Yes. And like I think it's like a thing that people forget about. Like Survivor is always a story, and yeah, of course you want to see like people win. Like you want to see your favorites win. You want to see the people you hate lose, and that's what happens in the season. But it's also like it's really cool to see your winner get handicapped immediately from because she was famous already. You know, like you associate her and her sister so much because of their amazing season and amazing race, and then their later season, which isn't as good, but like they're like fun and like oh my god, the 20s are on the season. The 20s are on the season, and like, a 20 is on the season. And then a 20 wins and proves to be an amazing Survivor player.
Yes.
Of course, you cannot beat Jeremy Collins because Jeremy Collins, oh my God, I fucking love that man. Yeah.
We'll get to Jeremy Collins on Wednesday. Jeremy Collins went on Wednesday. Thank goodness.
You are tempting me so much to watch Second Chances again.
You should. You should.
I might play. I have to like prep for my play. So.
So, Mark, thank you so much for coming back for this one. I really appreciate it. We will probably be seeing you during our live stream of season 42. We'll talk about that after we go off the air. Yeah. But we will see everyone else after Survivor Worlds Apart.